So don't get confused. Mama got that noodle juice. Mama got that.
We all sinners, just sinning for our reasons. We tryna change the vision, cause they sentence us to seasons. We turned dope to hope, I guess we finally found our meaning. Cause we tired of the death by overdoses of our people, yeah. We all sinners, just sinning for our reasons. We get it, neighborhood hope, feel like our only freedom. They judge us in their cages, then they drug us like we dangerous. We put the dope down because the hope is what's gonna save us, yeah. I choose to win, yeah. They choose to lose.
What up? What up? What's good, everybody? Well, we here.
Yeah.
From Dope to Hope. I'm Eddie Roberts. This is my wife, Nicole Roberts.
Hey.
Man, we are here. It has been a journey just to get to this point, just to be sitting in this chair, just to be in this space. But we here to tell you a little bit about our journey. From Dope to Hope, it describes where we were, how we were, the choices we made when we were younger.
Choose to win, not choose to lose.
Choose to win, choose not to lose. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It is a choice, right? And like we started off good. We got sidetracked. We both were teenage parents, and we made some choices.
Yeah.
But now we're living a different life.
And our truth.
And we are giving you the hope side because it is hope. And I just wanted to just share a little bit before we kind of get into our dialogue from where the idea came from. We were watching our favorite television show, which is
Chicago
PD. And, we this specific episode, the black detective had to infiltrate this Chicago gang. And it was, of course, another black member, the head of the gang. He was black. And, man, he started to, build a relationship with him. Mm-hmm. And, he started showing some empathy for him. And, so, man, they were talking. And the guy was doing some good things with the dirty money. He's putting kids to school. He was taking, paying tuition, doing some good things with his revenue that he received from the street. His hustle money, yeah. And it's just like the drug dealer who buy turkeys on Thanksgiving. Like you burn it down the hood, but here go a free turkey. Look, you done took their welfare check all month, all year, but look, Thanksgiving, here go a free turkey, right? But the guy, man, he asked him, the detective asked him, he says, man, how did you get into this? And his response really resonated with me. He said, I only sell dope to those who lost hope. Mm-hmm. And man, I realized like that was me. Like I lost hope for a long time. And that just sort of helped me continue the addiction because I didn't have any hope. It's almost like if you do something every day, you can't see yourself not doing it. Mm-hmm. And it just started very early for me. Not just the behaviors, like the behaviors go back to when I was young, elementary. Mm-hmm. But, I'm just talking about the addiction because none of us start off wanting to be or claiming, we're going to be addicted, right?
Yeah.
It always it starts off socially, right? And then that social becomes one more day, mm-hmm. 2 more days. Yeah. Then it becomes every day, a month, a year, a decade, 2 decades. And
it follows you.
It does.
Mm-hmm.
It really
Even
does.
when you think it's social, you become an addict.
Mm.
Yeah.
So so like let's kind of just unwrap this thing, right? Mm-hmm. Let's talk about us, and where our journey began,
okay,
and where we are now. So I'll start with me. I started having these desires or this need to people please at an early age, you know, and it goes back to 5th grade for me, right? You know, my friends, shout out to my man Jay Moore, who just wrote his book. You know, he excelled academically.
Yeah.
Right. My man Corey, he excelled in sports. He was athletic. Me, I was so. You know, I was in that 2.9, getting picked 4th. You know, when it came to picking the teams. So I didn't feel like I was really good at anything, you know, but I knew how to get attention, whether if it was from my dress, my clothes, because my mother always dressed me nice, or I knew how to get attention if I did something that would, you know, get me in trouble. And that's what I did, you know. 5th grade, I remember bringing the, you know, Playboy book to school, had all the kids around me, and, you know, I got the attention that I craved, even though, you know, I was punished for it.
Yeah.
You know, I still like that attention. And now it's almost like it was expected me to do something, you know, do something wrong. Like, what you gonna do next? You know, so, you know, that's where it started for me. And it just continued. It continued into, you know, 7th grade, you know, when my man asked me if I wanted to smoke a joint. You know, I was just getting introduced to hip hop. You know, he had the leather pants, the leather goose, you know, the girls flocked around him, and, you know, I wanted to be down. I wanted to be a part of something. And that seemed like it wasn't much required there. All I had to do was smoke on this or say yes to this or do whatever. And, you know, I was in, you know, and little did I know, you know, from that pull on that joint, you know, 2 decades later, I done did that, and I done did heroin, I done did pills, I done did everything. My wife hate when I talk about that heroin.
Yeah.
She hated.
He was the yes guy in his young years. So for me, my journey started in West Virginia. Mother was 14, pregnant, came to New Jersey to get an abortion. Had me, left me in the hospital. My mother, Shirley, who raised me my whole life, that's who came and got me. And I knew I was different growing up because I was different. I looked different. I act different. I didn't fall for a lot of things that people fell for. It was real hard being an outsider. Being adopted, you already are socially separate. I was always the black sheep in the family because I was different. I was a problem because Shirley loved me and everybody didn't care for it.
Sure.
Grew up in a house with cousins who mother was boosting. So my mom had to raise them. So it was a house of dysfunction, angry, young kids. These are children. We're not even teenagers yet. I didn't get to do the following stuff and be the yes person when they were smoking and sneaking out with cigarettes and drinking and weed because I was already separate. So it was easy to remain separate. So I didn't go down that road. But what I did do was I was familiar with the black side of things. So being a black sheep, I met people that was hustling and parents was on drugs and they had to become adults. So I connected with people that I can see, the people that the world don't see and they cut off and think they better. I would always see those people. And those are why I got caught up in a crowd at a young age. And I was also 14 when I started hanging with that crowd and pregnant at 16. So we started getting molded early. And our decisions was on the opposite side, but it was all connected to the same thing. Drugs, friends, just those environments that you're not mature enough to say, hold up, that's not for us. So yeah, that's a little bit of me.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for that. And you know, some of the identifiers here is right. The questions, the primal questions.
Hmm.
Am I loved?
Yeah,
Right? Am I needed?
yeah.
Am I important?
Hmm.
And I think that's where we were seeking.
Hmm.
You know, there was, you know, a person who loved us, but there also was some people who showed that they didn't love us.
Absolutely.
You know, single, raised by a single mother. So, you know, I remember, you know, my friend next door, you know, he had his mom and dad, you know, and
Hmm.
I remember seeing them pull off together, you know, going to whether it was Great Adventures or somewhere like that, you know, and, you know, I remember feeling that like, man,
Hmm.
you know, I want that, you
Yeah.
know, and I think we just both sought out what we needed.
What we connected to.
Yeah,
Mhm.
what we didn't get at the house,
Yeah,
like we went outside and found it somewhere.
yeah,
And you know that's part of, you know, our journey,
yeah.
you know, where we connect early. And I'm sure it's a lot of people who, you know, if you reflect on how did you get to that point, right? You got to
Yeah.
go back.
You always got to go back because what's missing is what drives you.
Mm,
So when something's absent, it's going to drive you, right?
sure.
But you don't know how you're driving. If you're
Yeah.
driving reckless, if you're driving with a license.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, you definitely have to go back to right those wrongs and then clean that slate within yourself.
mm,
So all that shame and guilt and misery that we cause ourselves and we regret, the work is going back so we
Sure.
don't have to regret.
sure.
Yeah.
You know, my man said it. He says for a bow and arrow to go forward, you have to first pull it back, right?
Yeah.
And we go back, and that's the one thing about sobriety, like, you know, because now we mask a lot of things, whether it's gambling, whether it's pornography, whether it's you know, any other compulsive behavior. It's a mask, and we got to peel back the layers to see where did this start from, you know, and that's the journey that we're on, you know, and we're doing it through different methods, right?
Yeah.
Right. We're doing it through therapy. We do it. This is therapy for us,
Yeah.
you know, but I also go to a therapist, right?
Mhm.
I'm also in a group that helps me and is helping me to be transparent and also accountable, you know, and, you know, so we're just constantly evolving,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
Trying to get the playbook right.
yeah.
I didn't
yeah.
get a playbook
Mm,
about
mhm.
life.
Sure.
I didn't get a playbook. So now we try to get a playbook out. Whether
That's
you're
right.
a
That's right.
child or
Yeah.
an adult, if you're in a situation, here's a playbook. Somebody going to talk to you. You know, each
Absolutely.
generation, everything's a secret until you hit a certain age. And oh, so and so did this. Mom did that. I wish somebody would have told me.
Yeah.
I would have saved myself
yeah.
sometime. But yeah.
Yeah. And I believe, like, honestly, the playbook,
Mhm.
right? They hid the playbook from us,
did.
right? And I think, you know, with our children, right? We were transparent,
Oh, yeah.
right? We giving you the playbook, but guess what? We ain't in the game no more.
No.
They got their own game to play now. They could take the playbook,
Take the playbook.
they could take the cheat codes, or they could be like, you know what, coach? Nah, I'm gonna run this play on my own. I know what play I want to run.
Even though we got that DNA,
Sure.
you might want to run a different play, but you still have that same DNA.
Man.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, just thinking about that, how, man, we discount the wisdom, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, because we had some people tell us, hey, don't do this, don't do that. And, you know, but we had to experience it ourselves. But I've learned the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yeah.
And as I, you know, when I got to that point of transition, man, as I looked, I'm like, man, birthday, year after year, I'm still doing the same thing.
Mhm.
I'm at the same place. the same bar, the same people, right? And yo, I just had to, if I wanted something different, I had to do something different.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, we just here to just, you know, share our experience with you guys.
Yeah.
And hopefully that this will be able to help you. So, you know, so let me ask you, you know, what was from early, like what was some of the things that you did to sort of mask? Because I did the alcohol and drugs, right? You know, for you, what was some of your earlier decisions that you've done that says, you know what, if I would have had a little guidance, I would have did things a little different?
Uh, that's a good question. What would I have done different?
I know you probably would have married me first. I mean, you know. But,
Because
you
I
know.
didn't have, so I was being raised by a very much older person, and in those days they didn't share and talk. I definitely wouldn't have been into boys at such a young age. I was 14. He probably was 17, 2 or 3 years
I
older
wasn't your
than me.
first. Oh,
No, so
okay,
sorry,
all
so
right, all right.
sorry.
Oh, you know.
And because you connect with people that's struggling like you, absentee mom, me, don't have one.
Yeah.
You connect with people. Then you find out the things they're involved in and what they're doing, and you saw nothing wrong with it because you had no structure to begin with.
Wow.
You had no foundation to begin with. You was just existing. I was just existing, and whatever probably came in my way. Thank God it wasn't a crazy person, serial killer. I probably would be dead.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because we're so accepting and we're so trusting when we should be having our radars up. You know, and I thank God that those things didn't happen. You know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. You know, for me, you know, having a child at 16, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see the service that you do as a father. You know, I recently did went to a conference, and it focused on the father wounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I had to, you know, at the end they asked to, you know, for you to call your father, and basically if your father's still living, or you call your sons or your daughters and say, or forgive them.
Mm-hmm.
I know you did the best you could with what you had. And that's something that I had to do with all of my sons, because, you know, at 16, you know, listen, I'm a loose cannon. And because I didn't have that father, right? Listen, I might have had one friend who says, hey man, you know, protect yourself, right? But I had these other friends like, nah, I don't wear protection. And, you know, my first experience was without protection. So, you know, listen, this is how I went about being intimate, you know, and praise God, man. I have 4, you know, it could have been more than that, you know, but, you know, having those children, and I'm a child.
Yeah.
Like, man, like I to a point where I'm already don't have structure, as you mentioned, but now I'm feeling like I'm grown now because I have a son, right, at 16, and you know I'm on my way to dropping out of school, you know, and with that, you know, with that attitude, that ego, like I'm grown because I have a son. Now I tell myself I got to take care of him now. So and now I get into the hustle mode, you know what I mean? The hustle game. And I remember my mother gave me that $100 for my birthday. And I asked guy I went to school with, I'm you know, yo, could you take me to New York? You know, dude used to have the mink on, the rings on, all that. And you know, my focus was different.
Yeah.
You know, and listen, he took me to New York, and you know, the rest was history. Like, and I ain't sitting here fronting like I was good at it. I had a hustler's habit. You know what I mean? So look, I ain't never reached the key. You know what I mean? Look, ain't no need to front. That wasn't who I was.
Thank
And that ain't who
God.
God ain't want me to be either. He never gave me success at that thing. When I
Yeah.
look back, all I did was just have enough to take care of my habit, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Bought a little clothes, you know. I was that addict that tried to look fly. You know what I mean? Look, I'm jacked up inside, but I want to look fly though. Look, I got the new Timbs on, you know what I mean? You know, but listen.
Don't get high on your own supply.
Yeah. Listen,
Biggie said it.
Biggie said that, you know what I mean?
Look,
Look, that was later on.
Yeah.
10 crack commandments. I don't know what number it was, but Big was number one, right? Number one. But it wasn't there because honestly, the dude who we picked up from, actually, because after New York, I got the same dude that gave me the joint in 7th grade. I done grew up a little bit. Now he from Newark. Now he tell me, yo, Ed, I got weight. But bro, we in Sensations, you know, he pulls out this and, you know, he skied up. That was the term back then, skied up, you know what I mean? And so listen, I didn't get that concept. Because once again, I'm people pleasing. That's what we doing. Give it here. You know what I mean? You just put it in front of me. I was like Mikey. Give it to Ed. He'll do it. He'll do anything. You know what I mean? So, but listen, that's who I am. I mean, that's who I was. Those are the choices that I make. And those choices brought me to this point now to be able to help people overcome. These young dudes today, they think ain't nothing different under the sun. Addiction is addiction. You're struggling with something, you know what I mean? And we just trying to help people get to that point, actually really get to the root of the matter. You know what I mean?
So 16 for me, being pregnant with a kid required you to drop out of school. Pregnant people couldn't stay in Elizabeth High.
Yeah.
They had a school in the Mitchell building, but I did not want to go. As far as family, very shameful. They hated me, ain't talked to me. It was another way of shutting a person out. So by the time he was born, my eyes was open. Wow. I'm a mother.
Yeah.
Went back to school, got my diploma, but I went straight to work. Was never a party person. That part of life, I don't know what sucked fun out of me, but it just wasn't there for me. And then this is where we are. Yeah. This is where we are today.
Yeah. Your journey. It's crazy because we had two different journeys, right? But we met up on the same road, right? And it's only because of God's grace. Because you said something, Nicole. I don't even know if you realize it, but you said your mother was 14.
Yeah.
And she came here to abort you.
Yes.
But that didn't happen.
Because I was meant to be here.
You was meant to be here, right? You was meant to be my wife. You know what I mean? God already knew. Listen, 20, 30 years. Listen, I'm going to have a husband for you.
They left Pocahontas, Virginia.
Yeah.
West Virginia to come to New Jersey where it was legal to have abortions. So she lived here for 6 months.
Yeah.
So she had me at Elizabeth General Hospital, which we no longer have.
Yeah.
They knocked it down as luxury apartments now. And that's where I was born.
Yeah. And I praise God that she made that decision not to.
She chose me at that moment.
Because that wasn't the intent when they left Pocahontas.
No, it sure wasn't.
Our foundation here, we know why we're here.
Oh, yeah.
It just wasn't by chance or luck. God had a purpose for us to be here. And this is why we're here sharing our story from dope to hope.
Yeah.
He did not prevent anything from happening in our lives.
Oh,
right?
No, he didn't prevent it.
He didn't stop Nicole from getting pregnant at that young age. He didn't stop me from creating children and not being who I could have been. But you know what? The outcome, right? The outcome where we are now.
Yeah.
Man, we know it's only but God's grace.
Yeah.
And that's the theme of this, from dope to hope. Dope isn't just the heroin or the drug, it's a state of mind.
That's right.
Right. And we live different now. Our mindsets are different now. We don't have a mindset of I can't.
Mm-hmm.
We have a mindset of I can. We're overcomers, right?
Yeah.
And we just here putting it on display. One of my favorite historians is Harriet Tubman, right? And listen, not much of the historian or the study buff of history, but what I liked about her is once she was free, she went and got the other slaves. And that's big for me. I don't want you to be enslaved to an addiction or a stronghold.
Yeah.
We can break that thing.
Well, that's what's applied to life. That's why we want our nonprofit regeneration to be open and big and running.
Yeah.
Because it's not just Harriet Tubman. We don't want to sit here and have stuff and do good and then watch everybody else struggle.
Sure.
You let me know. You hit me up. Hey, I'm looking for an apartment. I'm looking for a job. I'm there.
Yeah.
I'm sending you stuff. I'm telling you how to do it. How to do an LLC. The information is here, and I love to give it, and I love to help people. I don't need to let you watch me what I have.
Yeah.
When you could be sitting right next to me at the table. You don't need to be knocking at the door because you're sitting at the table.
Sure. Recently, I spoke at in TNET, right? And I got the little clip, but I shared, surrendering, I had to surrender to my wife, and I had to surrender my lack of responsibility and my credit score. We was married for years, and I'm still trying to move independently, not letting my wife know what's really going on with me, and she wasn't the type to pry, and one day she up in the sevens and 700 credit score, and I'm in the middle fives, and I just couldn't understand how I'm here, I'm taking care of business. And I have to ask her to put the vehicle in your name. I wanted to get a house, and we wasn't even ready for a house then, but I wanted to do real estate.
Yeah.
And I had to surrender and say, hey, Cole, could you help me get my credit score up? And that's one of our biggest issues, right? We don't like asking for help, especially men, right? We'll sit there, you hear the story, man, the GPS, we don't want to ask somebody for help. The wife is saying, hey, roll the window down and ask him for directions. Nah, we got it. One of the commercials that I like is the Planet Fitness commercial, right?
Oh yeah.
Dude, about the bench, he got the bench up, he got the weight up, and he let it down, and it's on his larynx. And the guy next to him is saying, yo, you need help? And he's saying, nah, I got it. Clearly, you don't have it.
No.
And I didn't have it either. And, that's when I started to, realize I got to surrender more than not just God. I got to surrender to my wife as well.
Yeah.
And let that ego go. They say ego is edging God out, but I was edging my wife out because I didn't want, for some strange reason, I wasn't a man. Real men ask for help. That's where I am today because I had to go to a coach. I had to go to a therapist. I had to go to my wife. I had to join the winning circle. I had to do some things because I wasn't making it happen. And I, swallowed pride and asked for help.
Yeah, because we're one. We're not separate.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, listen, we building, and since we are at this place where we're both believers, we're both on the same page and in the same accord, and we're equally yoked, God has done some things for us. And we're not just here to, we're not boasting on, our sobriety and our growth. Man, we want to help. We want to bring others from getting from that mindset of dope to bringing them to a place of hope.
Yeah.
And
and dope is not just drugs. It's
Sure.
dope when you're making bad decisions.
Bad decisions, sure.
Bad decisions and choices.
Yeah. So we got a few questions that we would like to answer. So are you ready for the questions?
Mm-hmm. So what was your turning point? So you had to say, I gotta stop at some point. So what was it like?
Man, I'm going to honestly, 2003 was my turning point. Like, I mean, that's when I said, Lord, listen, when the police said, put your hands up, they don't want them halfway. They want them all the way up. And that's when I put them all the way up in 2003. Right.
Yeah.
And what happened, I was out there, doing my 1-2, and, out there early morning, wasn't really too many people out. And, so I'm kind of going back and forth. Look, I'm getting the money. And I kept going to the car, bring a little bit out, go back, bring a little bit out. And listen, when they came down, it was me and one other person out there. And they actually brought me to the car. And, when they brought me to the car, they did not find anything, but they found something in my pocket. So they took the car and, they they took me, of course. I did get right out. My mother, she had an influence. So I didn't, stay in there long, didn't have to book, put up a bond or anything. But they kept the car for about a week?
Yeah, about 3-4 days.
About 3 or 4, okay. And when they called us, they called my wife and
said you could come and get your car.
We went and got the car, and everything was in a disarray. So, as we was putting the things back, because they went in the glove compartment, they looking for stuff because they wanted more than what they found.
Yeah, they didn't look.
Yeah.
It was right there in the front.
It was, yeah. So as we were putting things back, putting it in the side, I put my hand in the little compartment and I found a brick of heroin.
Yeah. Right there in the front of the car, the first place you would have looked when you go into a car.
Man.
If that wasn't God.
Man, like, if I put God on the back burner, values, my beliefs on the back burner for a long time, but that's the first thing that came out of my mouth. Thank you, Father. Thank you, Jesus. Some tears flowed from my eyes because all I can think about what could have been.
Yeah.
Right. When the charge was municipal, when they let me go, but that would have brought me back to court.
Oh yeah, that would have brought you up in the big building.
Yeah, sure. And I would have had to do, listen, with my record, with my prior arrest, that would have sat me down for a few years. And that was my turning point. And as I was telling the story to people, they couldn't believe it. But my one friend, Kevy Kev, and I say God bless him. He is deceased right now. And hopefully I will see him again. Yeah. But he said, Rob, you can only spit in God's face so many times. And that thing sat with me. And it sat with me. And that's when the transition started to come. I didn't even want no money from that. I flushed that dope. I didn't want to go give it to somebody because it still would have involved me in some way. right? You know what I mean? I still would have been getting a
You wanted to
proceeds
be
off it. I wanted to be completely
done.
done with it.
Done.
So I flushed it. And, you know, some of the jokers I used to say, why you flush it, bro? Because I wanted to be done.
Yeah. And you've been blessed because we had a friend whose car was taken
Mm.
the same way and they didn't give the car back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
you remember who they were.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nah, you know, at that point, that was my turning point.
Yeah.
And from there, I knew I just wanted something different, and I could not put myself in that position again to ask God for his grace, because I believe he would have had to say, nope, no,
Yeah.
you want to keep doing this?
It comes
sit
a
here.
time. It
Yeah,
comes a time where
absolutely.
he has to say, all right, I've helped you enough.
Sure.
I'm gonna step back. You're gonna eat this one.
Yeah. Learn this, experience this tough love I'm about to give you. And sit down and eat those 3 squares a meal and collect calls, and you know what I mean? Nah, man. I'm so glad.
Yes, all those prayers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, prayers. Yeah. That's
Those knee warriors.
Absolutely. When I was too foolish to pray for myself, it was praying for me.
Yeah.
So what's next, man?
So what are your thoughts? How was it like for you at that time as well?
Well, it was very frustrating. I was very upset with him, and it was taking me aback a little bit because I had said to myself, I was done with my old life. And that was pulling me back into an area that I did not want to be familiar with anymore. So it definitely woke us both up to have a conversation to say, all right, we doing this or we not doing this. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yo, I'll be honest with you. Like, you know, some things have to happen for us to turn the corner.
Oh yeah.
That was happening for me. Not just was I risking my freedom, I was risking my future wife.
Mm-hmm.
And it just wasn't worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you know, I needed help, and I needed a relationship. I needed to see what was I doing. Why was these behaviors continuous?
What were you still seeking?
What was I seeking? Yeah. And I wasn't willing to risk that.
And the crazy thing is he always had a job. He always had a job since I met him. I don't know if he was still didn't know how to disconnect from his people pleasing and disappointing the friends that he grew to love, because he always had a job. So he went to work to come home to hustle.
Yeah, sure.
So I never really understood him. And I looked at him all the time. And I used to say, when I first met him, wow, you're very intelligent. You speak well. You got a really nice mom. What are you doing? And I don't think he ever got it when I used to say it to him, like, you don't fit the description that you're displaying. You know, like when I met him, he was getting on my nerves, of course. And I rolled my window up because, you know, I like gentlemen. And he wasn't that person that he portrayed. So he was still, I would say, having a little identity issue.
Yeah.
Where did he want to be? Was it not okay to be intelligent and just be regular? Or did I have to always be the loudest person in the room?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And we just did a little reel on that, listening to the two voices, right?
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, I did have that respectable side, that educated side, but there also was some other blood flowing through me that I wanted to identify as well. Yeah. And you know what? Being in an urban environment, that's what fit, right? Humility don't fit, right? Kindness don't fit. And so it was almost like hit a switch. Like I needed to be this guy, but I can be the other guy when I'm with you, you know?
Yeah. So you did take on 2 roles, but I think most of the roles it didn't start with you.
Yeah.
Because your identity of your dad, he wasn't no joke.
Yeah.
He was definitely an aggressive dude.
Yeah.
You had Uncle Teddy, wasn't no joke. And we know your grandfather wasn't no joke. Gunslingers, you know. So you definitely had an identity crisis because you
Mhm.
definitely had that fire naturally, and you had them on each
On both
shoulder.
sides, right?
Yeah, which one am I going to feed?
Mm.
Is it the
Mhm.
black wolf or the white wolf? You know?
Yeah, 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 definitely.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know, yeah, I'm a D Block fan. I'm a Styles P, Jada Kiss, Locks fan. And Styles just, said something on the podcast the other day about being 360-degree individual.
Oh yeah.
And, like, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Like you 180 this way and you 180 this way, right? Good and bad.
Yeah.
And, I had to see who I was, and right today, I'm living that 180 good,
Mm-hmm.
And I want that 180 to be that 360.
That's
You,
right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And from that's the hope side. And I say this, like it is really about your mental shift,
Yeah.
and your identity.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have to be that person. We can be loving, we can be kind, we can be generous, and that's who I want to be right now. So,
Yes.
yeah.
So this is the last question. How do you envision your story inspiring or helping others who also might be in a similar situation as you?
You go first.
Okay.
Situation.
For me, from dope to hope, that's our objective here,
Yeah.
is to help those break the strongholds.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that, and I know that once we identify our issues, we don't have to mask them anymore
Yes.
with the behaviors. And I'm just trying to get people to be transparent and vulnerable and be able to communicate,
Yeah.
right? Because all of those things, when they're stifled, it's stifled when you drink, they stifle when you smoke, they stifle when you take a pill. But I'm just trying to say, yo, it's all right to be you.
That's right.
Like, it's cool to be you. God created you to be who you are. And he loved you. And he created you not to get caught up in the strongholds.
Yeah.
He created you for purpose.
That's right.
And I'm trying to get everybody to see their purpose. And that's my objective here.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do that from sharing my story and help and seeing and showing the ways to overcome.
Yeah.
Right. And that's my objective here.
Yeah. So I feel the same. That's my objective. The first thing is for acceptance. First, when people, you have to love yourself. You have to want to respect yourself. You have to hit the ground running and just show respect for yourself. Mostly, I would say a lot of us use guilt and shame on ourselves. We're our biggest critics. And once we let go and say, you know what, this is who I am.
And fear.
And fear.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
fear of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to step outside the box. Don't be afraid to say, you know what, they're going this way, but guess what? I don't think that's the right way. I'm going to walk this way. Because we could tell you some stories when we're young. The people that go this way, you usually get the phone call on the other ones. You won't get the phone call on the other ones.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, just don't give up hope and have some faith and believe that God has you here for a reason. You have a purpose. If you breathe in, you're here for a reason.
Sure.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just trying to restore hope. All right, y'all, listen, I thank y'all for tuning in with us. We are here. We're going to have some guests. We're going to go a deeper dive into our journey.
Okay.
And I hope y'all come with us on our journey as we elevate to next level. And what that next level is for everybody, it may be different.
Yeah.
But we not being stagnant. We're not surviving. We're going to thrive.
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Roberts. I love you.
Thank you, Mr.
All right.
Roberts. Love you
Peace
too.
out, y'all.
Peace
One.
out.